Hi, my name is Angelo Luongo, and today I wore my ninja suit, the dragon, because Elvis, Aaron Presley, my idol, loved karate and Indian suits. That's where we got him from his karate suits. So today I thought I felt in a karate mood like a dragon, because sometimes I'm pissed off. Lately, people have been disrespecting me, and I went from a lamb to a dragon with fire. And so I'm going to show you the back of my robe. Check this out, guys. The dragon.
Yeah.
Enter the dragon.
Yes, sir.
Have some respect, you Ninja Turtles. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, transvestites and others that there exist, I love you all. So forgive me whatever I said in the past. I want to tell you why I, Angelo Luongo, am Jesus Christ, how this came all about. I didn't just come out of my closet and say, now I'm Jesus Christ. After my wife and I separated, she left with the kids. I didn't know where she was, because I was getting sick at the time, maybe with bad marriage and my brother dying and paint fumes. I was always stoned on fumes. That's all I have to say about that. But the reason why I went, how I became Jesus Christ, this is the final answer. You guys didn't know this. That's why you come to see the movie. I went to a psychic, spiritual Italian lady, and she had the little saints there, and you go there, she used to pray for you, and you donate some money into her saints. But I never had any money at the time. I was broke. I was out of my mind. I was sick, right? And depressed. Not sick. I was very depressed over my marriage and my brother and everything else. And so after she prayed for me, she gave me this bottle of liquid. I don't know what was in there. And she goes, go home and put 3 drops in the bathtub and take a bath in it. So she gave it to me, and I took it. And then on the way out, I said to her, where do I go now? She goes, you'll know when you get in your vehicle where to go. So I got into my van, my painting van, and I started driving, but instead of ending up at my house where I lived with my wife and kids, I ended up at my parents' house. And so I went to the basement, into their washroom, I locked the door, I brought my little water bottle, not water bottle, that bottle of liquid she gave me, and instead of putting 3 drops in the water, I put the whole bottle, right? And I took a bath in it. I was naked, of course, in the bathtub for a while. My mother kept knocking, Angelo, you okay, you okay? Because they were always worried about me. I had the greatest mother and father in the world. And I said, yeah, don't worry, Mom, I'm okay. Meanwhile, I'm in this water. Put the whole bottle in there, and I lay there for half an hour underneath the water, not on my body, but then I also put my head and my hair and everything, and I wet it. Then I came out, and I looked into the mirror, and I said, oh my God, I look, feel, and am Jesus Christ. And that's when it all began. But I didn't tell my parents that happened, or Jesus Christ, so I just kept going through the days like that. Then one day, the first time I told them, we were at my apartment. They came to stay with me because they were worried about me. My wife was gone somewhere. I don't know where they were. I still don't know where they went. And but it's okay. It's not the point. And so they stayed in my apartment with me. And that night I drank a whole bottle of whiskey. And I don't even drink. I told them it was ginger ale because I don't know. God maybe wanted me to drink whiskey all night so I could get sick. I was getting real sick. And I told them it was ginger ale, so I kept popping whiskey. And then we ate some red peppers they had cooked for me. And then I vomited the red peppers because so much whiskey and cheese that I ate with it. And I said, look, that's the devil that came out of me. That red thing is the devil, the red demon. So, fine, that was another story. Then I told them, you know what? I'm Jesus Christ. I said to my mother and my father, my grandmother. And it was my father. He's a great man. I don't blame him what I said. He says, you're nuts. Anybody would say that to their son if you told him you're Jesus Christ. But then I said, yeah, Jesus, you think I'm nuts? I'm going to save you all. And he says, you and your stupid stories all the time, right? So I go onto the balcony. We lived in an apartment building on the 3rd floor. And we had a balcony, and it was 20 below outside. And I had no shirt on, and I went like this, God help me, I'm going to save them all on your behalf. And I was naked up there. I didn't feel no cold because I had drank a whole bottle of whiskey. So then I went back in, And then I went to sleep on the bed, and they were around me watching me because they were scared because I had drank so much. So they stayed around me. If they weren't there, I would have died. So the morning after, I was supposed to drive them to church because that was a year after my brother died, Michael. The Italian people have a mass on the same date of the 1 year after. So I was supposed to drive, but I was too drunk and sick. So my cousin Rena came to pick us up and drove us. Then he brought me in church. When I walked in there, I felt like Jesus. I was looking into the crucifix. While the Mass was on, they were praying, the Mass and talking about my brother and whatever. And I'm looking into the big crucifix that there are in the Roman Catholic Church with Jesus Christ crucified against it. And tears kept falling like real drops. And it wasn't because I was sad over my brother or sad because I lost my wife or kids. I was just crying because of the Holy Spirit of Jesus coming into me. And then I got so confused because then I felt even my brother, I felt the spirit of my brother come into me. So I felt Jesus and Michael. But now it's so amazing and then so I kept dropping and dropping and dropping, and I was in my own world. I felt this power of the Holy Spirit of Jesus and my brother into me. And then after the Mass, they took me to the hospital right away. They said, oh, he's sick, he's got to go to hospital. So I ended up at Toronto General, I think, because they said I was sick, because I told them I was Jesus Christ and whatever. And that's a big thing. When you tell them you're Jesus, of course they think you're sick. So, but then I went to the hospital, and I kept saying I was Jesus all the time as well. And even they didn't believe me at the time. So we started with medication over the years at Toronto General. All these hospitals have been good to me in Toronto. They really taken care of me. I have great people in this great city of Toronto that I love very much. And without them, I'd be really messed up. But they really have taken care of me with the right medication. Great doctors and nurses and all of healthcare in Toronto. And so I spent many months at Toronto General with feeling I was Jesus, and I kept singing and singing all the time, and I was loving it there. They really took care of me and had great food. And then I don't know what happened. I lost control. Then I went back home and I was acting, they say I'm manic. Then they labeled me manic depressive, which I don't understand, but I just think I'm not manic depressive. I get depressed at things because it's reality, sad things, so I'm bound to be depressed because I feel very deeply about things, right? But when I get manic, I don't think it's mania. I think it's the Holy Spirit of God takes over and gets me so powerful that I need some pills to slow it down, because I think that Jesus maybe needed pills too in those days, because his spirit was so powerful. Maybe that's why they crucified him, because he could see and feel everything in the world, and it scares society. So for me not to get killed, I see at sea level instead of below sea level and above sea level, keep me balanced. But I don't think I'm manic depressive, but it's okay. I'll go with the flow just to explain to people that I'm nuts. You live longer when you go with the flow, right, Nick? So that's it. So over the years, then I ended up at the Clark. The Clark is fantastic. That's where my doctor is. He's fantastic. And they took care of me there too. And then I started getting better, but in between, I would go sleep at my parents for a few months, then go back to where I live, in my own little room where I live, then go back to them. Sometimes I go see my wife, and then while we were separated, it was a very strange thing. But the point, once I was phoning the prayer line, Crossroad Ministry. They were praying. I asked them to pray for my mother who was dying of cancer. My mother Antonietta. She's an angel in heaven. Once I was phoning for her to pray for her, and this lady started to cry. And I said, "Why are you crying, ma'am?" And she goes, "Angelo, you are the chosen one of the world." And I said, "No wonder I feel like Jesus Christ." So now it's confirming all those feelings that people denied I was, because they were afraid I would take over their jobs. Or I'm not here to steal nobody's job. You know, I love priests and churches, so go to church. These priests are divine. They're just angels that work for me, and I work for God. So that's the answer to that one. So go to church. It's a beautiful thing. You might find me there. I always love going to churches. I really wouldn't hurt a fly. You know, even flies piss me off. But I do have to roar, because if you don't roar, then people don't take you seriously and don't leave you alone and don't respect you. And when people don't respect me, I feel really bad and hurt, and then I do get angry, right? And then I say, God, punish them. If you're doing wrong, it's not good. And that's it. We all answer to God. And that's it. So God bless you. I have many more things to say, but check us out on To Be Seen for the next many, many years. And